The public was already fed up with the system by the end of the Bush administration, and now it was clear that, at least where Wall Street was concerned, President Obama was not going to be any better. The American people had finally had enough, and the outrage that had been building up for years on both the left and the right could no longer be contained.
America is fed up with just being forced into poverty.
Something needs to change. We need an economy for the people and by the people, not by the rich and for the rich.
I've never been actively involved in politics before or any political movement, but this has got me so aggravated I had to put my voice to the public.
The only difference between Las Vegas and Washington, D.C. is at least Vegas has the decency to admit it's full of crooks and hookers.
Both the Bush and Obama administrations went to bat for the banks by telling the American people that they had to be bailed out because they were just too big to fail. But once the outrage reached a fever pitch and people took to the streets demanding that the bankers responsible be brought to justice, the Obama administration added insult to injury by covering for the banks with yet another excuse. The banks weren't just too big to fail, they were too big to jail.
I am concerned that the size of some of these institutions becomes so large that it does become difficult for us to prosecute them when we are hit with indications that if you do prosecute, if you do bring a criminal charge, it will have a negative impact on the national economy, perhaps even the world economy. And I think that is a function of the fact that some of these institutions have become too large.
We ended up with a two-tiered system of justice in the United States that was effectively announced by Eric Holder, the Attorney General. And he testified at a congressional hearing that he can't enforce the law against the too-big-to-fail banks and their bankers the way he does to everybody else. If we did that, he said, then the bank might collapse, it will affect the financial system, so we're going to put them in this special category where they get special treatment. Of course, it makes no sense, right? If they actually are in such a critical position where they could wreak economic havoc on every American, then they ought to be actually held to a higher standard, not a lower standard. It's inexcusable people were not prosecuted.